Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Des monts et merveilles, monts et marais, au loin déjà la mer s'est retirée. Et toi, comme une algue, doucement caressée par le vent, dans les sables du lit, tu remues en rêvant. Des monts et merveilles, vents et marais, au loin déjà la mer s'est retirée. Mais dans tes yeux entouverts, de petites vagues sont restées. Des monts et merveilles, monts et marais, de petites vagues pour m'embrasser. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. The show is Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and our guest today is a young lady who sings French folk songs, obviously, but she's also the reason why you can view our series in Staten Island. And her name is Helen Levin. Welcome to the show, Helen.
Thank you, Ralph. My pleasure.
Nice to have you here.
Very much so. I got interested in French folk music a long time ago, and today I'm going to sing a group of songs which really qualify as chansons poetiques. That's a category of folk song that's typically or only French. American songs where they're derived from the farms or the prisons or the labor unions and factories and so forth. The source for French music is poetry and folkloric traditions of France, and I got interested in that when I was a student and required to take French. And I felt, well, how am I going to get interested in, really get interested? I was a folkie anyway, American folk music, loved it, and a hobbyist. And then I said, well, maybe I'll learn some songs. And then I encountered at one of the record stores, when you could listen to the records, Jacques Douai. And Jacques Douai represented to me his repertoire perfect. And in essence, he's kind of the, in quotes, Pete Seeger of France of that time. So I got hooked on that. The song I just sang is called Des Monts et Merveilles, one of Jacques Douai's favorite songs. And it's from a movie back in 1942 called Night Visitors. And Night Visitors was while the French were occupied. They created a film, the director Michel Carnet, he wrote a film, and Jacques Prévert, the famous poet, did the dialogue for that film, the screenplay, and this song came from it. But I have to admit to you, I did the folk process thing, Ralph. I changed the ending of the song because the song ending was sad, and it was, I'm going to sing it now in English, my translation. The marvels and ides, the winds and the tides, and now the water meets a distant shore, and you're sweetly dreaming, dreaming songs of some far different lands. Gently move as you sleep, tender flower of the sands. The marvels and ides, the winds and tides, and now the water meets a distant shore. But in your eyes as you sleep, two little waves rise from the deep. The marvels and ides, the winds and tides, sirens of love beckon me to sleep.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I took the liberty to do that translation. And the original song, though, was two little waves, which he sees in her eyes, to drown him. And so I wanted to change that into embrace him instead, the waves. And I got interested, as I said, when I was a student, I had to learn the language. And my next song is a song which is actually Jacques Douai, one of the 15 songs approximately that Douai did music for. And in this case, because he was basically an interpreter, I say was, he passed in 2004, he interpreted music, folkloric music. He wasn't that much into singer-songwriter thing. And so he took Rimbaud's poem, which is called Le Dormeur du Val, the Sleeper of the Valley. It's a very powerful song, and the song is, it's a song of contrasts between life and death. And Rimbaud, apparently, Arthur Rimbaud, 19th century, loved to ramble in nature. And in this poem, he talks about greenery, and I'll translate that poem for you in his very words. You'll see that the Dormeur du Val, the sleeper of the valley, is a young man, but he's not sleeping. He has two red holes on his side, and he has that at the very end of the song. So it's emotionally, it's a popular in schools. I've heard in France they use that in the literature, that poem. Le Dormeur du Val. It's a little green hole of greenery, green in contrast to the red holes on his side. Where a river sings as it runs through a silvery slivers of grasses, where the sun over the proud mountain shines. Lots of personification here. A little valley shimmering in light. A young soldier, open-mouthed. Hatless he sleeps, his neck bent in the fresh watercress. He stretched out on the grass under a cloud, pale in his green bed where the sunlight reigns. His feet are in the gladiolas. He sleeps, smiling as a sick child would smile. And then it says, nature, rock him gently. He's cold. Rock him warmly. The perfume no longer quivers his nostril. His hand upon his chest, he sleeps in the sun. He has two red holes on his side. He's tranquil. And that's the song, and I think it has a lot of anti-war feelings to it in some ways. C'était trop de verdure où chante nos rivières, accrochant follement aux herbes désaillants d'argent, où le soleil de la montagne fière. C'est un petit val qui mousse de brillant, un soldat jeune, bouche ouverte, tête nue, et la nuque baignant dans le frais que semble d'or. Il est étendu dans l'herbe, sous la nuit pâle, dans son hiver où la lumière pleure. Les pieds dans la gouaille, il dort, souriant comme sourirait un enfant malade, il fait un sang. Nature perce le chaudement et la froid. Les parfums ne font pas frissonner sa narine. Il dort dans le soleil, la main sur sa poitrine. Tranquille, il a deux trouches au côté droit. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a very moving poem.
Isn't it
Almost made me cry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But
it's good to
I
feel.
think it's wonderful, one that will cry with happiness of the charm and the absolute passion for nature that Rimbaud had in that poem and in some of his other poems. The next song I'm going to sing is, there were other great French people who are not with us, but in that revival that we had like in America during the 50s, and they had around the same time, the 40s and the 50s too, in France. Unfortunately, it's not around today too much. Little places they have. The song I'm going to sing is Il n'aurait fallu. Now this song is a collaboration between a famous French poet named Louis Aragon and Léo Ferré, who was the most, to me, quintessential, superb composer and poet. Léo Ferré, F-E-R-R-E, and Ferré, and I'll go on. Il n'aurait fallu. And to translate that moment, il n'aurait fallu, it means it only took a moment. It would have been one moment more, and death would have taken me. But a hand came and took my hand. And in the poem, it tells its essence, like the French, they speak about love, but they don't say the word love. And so love came into his life, and he speaks at the end of the poem about how it was like a garden, like a wheat field with beautiful golden wheat, and a garden where violets suddenly grew, and that's what the love he felt was like. Il n'aurait fallu, that's the poem of Louis Aragon, put to music by Ferré. Later I'll sing one by Ferré himself, yeah. Il n'aurait fallu qu'un moment de plus pour qu'on ne m'en vienne, mais une main nue alors est venue, qui a pris la mienne. Qui donc a rendu leur couleur perdue aux jours aux semaines, sa réalité à l'immensité des choses humaines. Un front qui s'appuie à moi dans la nuit, de grands yeux ouverts, et tout m'a semblé comme un champ de blé dans cet univers. Rien qu'un mouvement, ce geste endormant des jets qui me frôlent, un souffle posé, moi une rosée contre mon épaule. Moi qui frémissais toujours, je ne sais de quelle colère, deux bras ont suffi pour faire à ma vie un grand collier d'air. Un tendre jardin dans l'herbe où soudain le verveine pousse, et mon cœur défunt renaît au parfum qui fait l'ombre douce. Il n'aurait fallu qu'un moment de plus pour que l'amour vienne, mais une main nue alors est venue et a pris la mienne. Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Lovely songs.
Now, Helen, you're also an artist.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your art and tell the folks how they can find out more about it?
Yes, thank you. And not only that, Ralph, but I will mention there's a connection between my art and the songs, because this music was full of its imagery, and unusual imagery, which is why I loved it, and do love it, is the imagery is really derived from Surrealism. The Surrealism that took place in Europe, the Surrealist movement, of really tapping the unconscious, these creative urges and the different ways we think in our unconscious mind, the dream world. This they captured in their poetry and the song, and that expressed itself here in America in the abstract expressionist movement, where they tapped automatic drawing, which is automatism, they call it. And that's what I somewhat am influenced by, because I'm a gestural artist. I paint abstractly. I'm very interested in composition in my work. And this is my artwork, an example, improv. And I am influenced by music. I like the way improvisation and spontaneity occur in jazz, for example, and other music. And that makes me parallel to these poets, because they're influenced by the Surrealists too. My next song is a song called Leyton Shimerik, which is, speaking of Surrealism, that's a perfect example of imagination. Leyton Shimerik, the imaginary pond. And it was written and composed by Léo Ferré, and it's, I think, one of his greatest songs. And it's a short song, which says the following, but I can say it better if I read from a book which I actually made. Whoops, right, I made a translation of that song and put it into a book, and it's right here with me, and it's Leyton Shimerik, une chanson par Léo Ferré, and in this book I have Léo Ferré's the words I use in script and pictures I painted, and it's an accordion fold book with many pictures. I think they're just by coincidence. My paintings seemed in that period to have a connection in some way. And I will just say to tell you the meaning. Our most beautiful memories will flower on the pond of the soul. So our minds are like the imaginary pond. We submerge the lousy memories right to the bottom, and the beautiful ones will float on top. And then the poem says, and one day, just for the pleasure, we will take a ride on this imaginary pond, only never to come back. And each verse, the second verse, tells how we submerge our bad memories. And one beautiful image in this poem, Ralph, I must tell you, is he says, but we will keep the image of our heart at age 20. That beautiful white water lily you see on the pond, that's your heart at age 20. I love that.
How true.
It's so nice. And at the end of the song, he says, alors tout sera lumineux, mon ami. We're going on this pond, and never we will return, but then everything will be luminous. And that was very touching to me when I saw Léo Ferré sing that. Leyton Shimerik.
We should tell folks also that they can find out more about your art by going to
yes.
www.helenlevin.com.
Oh, yes, Ralph. Thank you for reminding me. It's on the screen, I'm happy to say, and my email address, too, is it's on that website, too. I'm using D. Les beaux souvenirs fleurissent sur l'étang de nos lointains châteaux, de nos lointains Espagne. Et nous les temps perdu en ma campagne, et ce blanc nénuphar, c'est ton cœur de 20 ans. Un jour nous nous embarquerons sur l'étang de nos souvenirs et referons pour le plaisir le voyage doux de la vie. Alors nous nous embarquerons, mon doux Pierron, mon tendre ami, pour ne plus jamais revenir. Nos merveilleux souvenirs se noieront dans les temps de ce lointain château, dans le lointain d'Espagne. Et nous ne garderons pour nous en ma campagne que ce blanc nénuphar et ton cœur de 20 ans. Un jour nous nous embarquerons sur l'étang de nos souvenirs et referons pour le plaisir le voyage doux de la vie. Alors nous nous embarquerons, mon doux Pierron, mon tendre ami, pour ne plus jamais revenir. Alors tout sera lumineux, mon ami. Thank you. My last song, which I'll sing now and if necessary repeat, yes. It's a song by a very wonderful man who was devoted to the work of the famous French composer Eric Satie, and he in fact gave to the world the work that Satie had when he died and was not known, and he actually unearthed a lot of this stuff. He was a close friend of Eric Satie, and his name is Robert Cabi, Robert Cabé. And this song it's a love song, and it's an adulation to a beautiful woman, clearly. And Bella, 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 que voulez-vous que je dise? Beauty, what can I say to you, to your beautiful face? Your eyes of sapphire, troubled like lakes and rivers and water. Unquiet, as nervous as the waves. Inquiète comme les ondes. And many, many things about, your lips and your mouth that say crazy things. Your mouth is a crazy flower that says beautiful things. And that's kind of a song. It never says I love you. Funny, right? So I love that. Anyway. Bella, Bella, Bella. Bella, 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 que voulez-vous que je dise? À votre frimousse exquise, les roses sont sur l'air. Vos yeux de saphir grands éclairs, guillettes comme les ondes, des fleuves et des lacs et des mers. Et j'en ai des rages profondes, mais je suis pourtant désarmée par la bouche rose d'un mer qui parle si bien sans parole et qui dit des mots sans pareil, fleurs délicieusement folles, écloses à Paris au soleil. Belle, 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 que voulez-vous que je dise à votre frimousse exquise, les roses sont cervelles. Thank you. I have another song, by the way.
Have you had any opportunity to spend time in France?
Yes, but not as much as you think. I was there a couple of years. I was there. I had an art show at a bank in Nice in
Nice.
June in 2008. I had a lovely espace culturel, a little bit of a gallery in a bank in BNP Paribas. I'm giving it free. Here, and it was very, very nice experience. I had an exchange arrangement. Someone came to my home, and I stayed in someone's home in Nice. So I had a lot of fun to practice speaking French. 6 weeks of it, so it was really fun.
Sounds great.
It was nice on the Riviera in June. Yeah, it was kind of nice.
My wife and I had a short trip to France. We spent a few days in Paris and had a friend who lives in Paris show us around, and we hiked from Perpignan in the south of France into
Ooh.
Spain along the Vermilion
neat.
coast.
Oh, I
It
never
was
saw that.
beautiful.
Sounds great. Yes. Well, I'm going to sing another song here. It's the only actually folkloric song that I put in this, and it's a charming song called Un bon matin à la fraîche, a beautiful morning with a little chilly morning. And its story is about a man who takes his hunting rifle and he goes along a path, and he doesn't find a thrush or a partridge, but instead he finds a lovely shepherdess. But unfortunately, she's sleeping under a tree, and he won't dare wake her up. Then he gets the idea. He's going to pick flowers and put them in her hand. Well, that isn't so advised, to just pick flowers and put them in her hand. So the little chorus in the song that says, keeps repeating this, chilly outside. Her heart is chilly too, at the end of the song. So I like that song. So the only, I can't attribute it to anyone. It's considered a trad song. Un bon matin à la fraîcheur, la qu'on est si fraîche, que pressé de travailler, la qui faisait frisquer. Je suis partie sur la route, la qu'on est si fraîche, avec mon fusil chassé, la qui faisait frisquer. Je ne vis perdu ni grive, la qu'on est si fraîche, ni faisant à ramener, la qui faisait frisquer. Mais j'ai vu une bergère, la comme les si fraîche, avec ses moutons après, la comme les frisqués. Mais elle dormait la bergère, la comme des si fraîches, au pied d'un bel olivier, la qui faisait frisquer. Belle affaire, mais que faire, la comme les si fraîches, je n'osais pas la veiller, la qui faisait frisquer. J'ai cueilli des violettes, I like them si fraîches. Et dansé, mal les placé, I like them si frisquées. Mais le cœur était si fraîche, I like them si fraîches. Que son cœur s'est réveillé, I like them frisquées.
Very lovely presentation,
Thank
Helen.
you. If there's time, I can do another song if you like, a really old song, but depends. You tell
Sure,
me.
we have about 2.5 minutes.
We do? Okay.
Let's tell folks again they can find out more information about your art at helenlevin.com.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And I exhibit many times in having an upcoming show, and so I'm always showing my work and happy to do that and happy to sing the combination. The song I thought I would sing now is a really old song, and it's called Cruella De Parti. It's a song written in the court of Henry IV in France during the Renaissance, and it was written to his lover, who was easily 30 or 40 years younger than he was, and he had to go off to war and lead the armies, and he wrote this song, or had this song written for her, and it used to be called Charmante Gabrielle. Now it's called Cruella De Parti, and it's a very old song. Cruella de Parti, malheureux jour, que ne suis-je sans vie ou sans amour, les jours de ton absence me sont des nuits, et nuit la naissance de mille ennuis. À qui veut voir l'image du désespoir, à mon triste visage, je viens me voir. Que ne puis-je te suivre, soleil ardent, ou bien cesser de vivre en te perdant. Cruelle de Parti, malheureux jour, que ne suis-je sans vie ou sans amour. Thank you.
Very nice. Well, there's just less than a minute to go, so let's just thank you again for being our guest here on Horses Sing None of It.
Thank you so much, Ralph. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've always enjoyed over the years hearing you play your very, very good instrumental music, and